Yeah, welcome everyone. If I lead, then you let people in. Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming. I'm so looking forward for today. While we're just waiting for the last people to arrive. Oh, and Sunny, you're here too. That's good. I would like just for us just to center a bit. So if you make yourself comfortable and close your eyes and make a deep inhalation and exhale and feel how you're falling into gravity. And inhale and exhale again. And feel how the body gets more and more heavy for every exhalation you make. So you inhale and have the thought on receiving. And you exhale and have the thought of letting go. And keep inhaling and receive. And exhale and let go. And everything that needs to be let go, just whether it's tension in the body or what happened previously this week or will happen this week later, just let go of it. You're here right now. And make contact with your feet. Feel if there's any kind of tingling sensation in your feet or buzzing. And your ankles and your knees. And your hips. So right now you have full focus on your legs. And inhale and receive. And exhale and let go. And I would like for you to make an inhale and a kegel. Follow the energy all the way up the spine on the inhalation. And exhale, let go of the kegel. And feel how you're centered in the entire body now. Bring a focus on your entire body on the front. Bring a focus on all the sensations on your body on the back. So your bum and your back. The back side of your lungs, the back side of the heart. The back side of your intestines, your spleen and your liver on the back side. And the right side of you, so your right arm, your right thigh. The right cheek. And the left side of you, so the left side of your face, your left arm, your left leg. And everything below you, so the bottom of your feet, the bottom of your bum, and everything above you, so the top of your head, your shoulders. And now you have all 6 directions. And feel how you are sitting in the middle with all 6 directions around you. And I would like for you now to inhale and focus on your lungs, on the expansion of the lungs. And exhale and feel the contraction of the lungs. Notice how your stomach is getting bigger and expanding when you're inhaling, and getting smaller when you're exhaling. And I would like for you to keep focusing on your lungs. Focus how it feels when you inhale and the lungs are expanding. And focus on how it feels when you exhale and the lungs are contracting. And I would like for you to keep breathing and really focus on what you actually can feel when you inhale and when you exhale. If you remove the label of lungs, if you remove every single thought you have about what is happening when you inhale and when you exhale, and only focus on your direct experience, and what do you actually feel? And notice how the mind really want to put a thought on what is happening. Ooh, it's tingling. That is a label. Detach the label. Ooh, my stomach is moving. That's a label. Detach the label. What do you actually feel in your direct experience when you're sitting and breathing? If you detach all labels and detach all thoughts, what do you actually feel? What is the sensory experience of an inhalation and an exhalation? And if you have thoughts that are coming and interrupting, then remember, it's completely okay. It's a matter of practice, just like with sounds or smells. Thoughts are just a sensory experience. So keep coming back to how it actually feels in your direct experience. Notice what is happening in your lungs. And when you sit and feel into it right now in your direct experience, how do you know that you actually have lungs? If you're detaching all thoughts and you're simply sitting and experiencing now and now and now, do you see that lungs really don't have any space or any place in the direct experience? There's just breathing happening. You see that there needs to be an assumption about lungs for us to talk about it. We need to create a concept about it. Which is very descriptive of the meat suit, but not really descriptive of the direct experience. So if we turn our attention from the lungs into an awareness about the sense of self, where do you find yourself right now? For everybody who has seen through it, it's a good idea to do the inquiry just once in a while. Like Kathy used to say, or usually say, poke the bear to see if it's still not there. If you should describe in your sensory experience right now, how does it feel to have the sense of self? Where is that located? And without adding a label, but just your experience, then how do you know? Okay, I would like for you to get your attention back to the group and to where we are right now. Make a deep inhalation. And exhale. Get ready to open your eyes shortly. Make another inhalation. And open your eyes. And shake your body if you need to. And if anybody feels even more confused than before, then this is the time to speak up. But before we do that, may I talk about your...
Yeah, and just the general disclaimer that we're putting in the chat also.
Yeah, can you say the disclaimer? I talk about your consultation.
So I'm going to be just putting something in the chat just as a reminder for people that this is going to be recorded and it is going to be put on publicly on my YouTube channel. If you want to bring up something that you would not like to be publicized or put up online, just let us know before you ask the question. We'll pause the recording and then we'll resume afterwards. That's basically it. We kind of go through it each time, but I'm putting it down, just so everybody can see it and as a reminder for everybody coming in.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that I don't know if you know it, but Todd, he has paid one-to-ones, so one-to-one consultations with him, and he has some times available. It's not many, but it's some. And instead of us going out and just posting about it on Facebook or something, we rather want to offer it for you guys. There's going to be a link for that as well, and you can just follow the link, and then you come straight into the calendar. I'm just posting it now. So when you go to the link, you come straight into the calendar, and then you can just book a consultation, a one-to-one consultation. And he says that it's 90 minutes, but it never is. He's such a favor. Because if there's anything that you guys are talking about, he's not going to go, well, we are off time now, and then just let you go. He always, yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep working until it feels right. And thank you, Cleona, for that, for the tip for Calendly, because that is That is the link that I'm using now, and it is amazing. So completely unsponsored plug for Calendly. It's just
And
such a
Cleona.
great thing. And Cleona for turning me on to it. So thank you.
Yeah. And it's really a great system, because you guys, you just go straight in. Oh, just the waiting room. You just go straight into the calendar and you just book the time that you want, and it goes straight into our calendar, so we know what time you have. And I want to say,
oh, I was gonna say also, and it generates your own Zoom link.
Yeah,
So
as well.
you'll automatically have your own private Zoom link for my for the session.
And I want to say two things about it. The first thing is the times you see in the calendar are the only times that are available. So be mindful about, if you know that you would like to work with Todd in a one-to-one, like once a month, make sure that you do that booking. If you want to work every other week, make sure that you make the booking right away, because it's the only times that are available until February. And the other thing I want to see, be mindful that other people than you would like some slots with Todd as well. So don't book all of them. Make sure that you also leave some time for other people as well, because it is the only times that are left.
Thank you.
And I think that's it.
All right.
Yeah, and in the one-to-one, you get a Zoom link and you get a recording
Yeah.
of it that is on your unlisted.
Yeah, I make unlisted playlists for any one-to-one sessions. So then all of the sessions will be recorded, unlisted, and they'll have access to them so that they can go back and listen to them
As
whenever
many,
they like.
many times as you need.
And also you can always email me for questions or anything in between sessions.
So yeah,
I think that's it.
that's it.
Ready to get to it?
Yes.
I wanted to bring something up real quick that I just realized, was that this 10 Fetter Inquiry group from 2 weeks ago is posted on your channel, Todd, but it's not posted on yours, Pernille.
No,
Oh.
it's not posted on mine.
She just always like gives a link to it when it first comes
Oh.
up.
Yeah.
Did you link to that?
Because some of the 10 Fetter Inquiry groups that were from previous weeks in October are on your channel. So
Yes.
I got confused.
Yeah, I understand. They are on Todd's channel, but I'm making a post the week after. He posted on his channel tomorrow,
Today,
right?
usually.
Today.
Yeah, usually tonight.
So either tonight or tomorrow, it's posted on Todd's channel. And I usually post it on the week after, where we don't have an inquiry group. I make a reminder of here, if you want to rewatch it, here it is. But it's not on my channel. It's only on an extended post.
Have you been adding it to playlists on your channel though?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where it would be. So it's not hosted on your channel, but people could find it on your channel in the playlist that you have it listed under.
I have forgotten to do that. I will.
Yes, you have. That's what I'm bringing up.
Yeah.
You have forgotten to do that.
Yes, I have
Because
made
I
a
got
post and
confused.
I've forgotten to post in it. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Well, I got confused and I was looking for it to re-listen and I couldn't find it on your channel. I was like, well, this is really weird. And I forgot they were posted on Todd's as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Inconsistency. It's my middle name. Inconsistency.
It's the hallmark of our lives. Just
Inconsistency.
hence the reason why calendars are really helpful, because yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so happy to see Beth.
All right.
I want to talk with Beth.
Yes, and we're pinning.
Pin.
And pin us.
We're pinning here. Did you do the thing? So it's coming up like this.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Zoom has changed it. So for some reason in the last inquiry, it didn't pin both of us on the recording. It was just the speaker. That was, but
I think
we'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out.
Life is very, very exciting when you don't know how Zoom is going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm concerned. Now I'm thinking maybe we're gonna get another weird recording.
It's fine. It's fine. Beth, I'm so happy to see you.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. I'm really happy to see you. In the Q&A last time when we spoke, I was like, afterwards, I was thinking, I have the habit still, because I have had groups in Denmark for so many years. And I'm used to seeing people every other week, through a 6-month period, or every week through a 1-year period. I'm not really used to like that.
Sorry. Yeah, I was Sorry,
No,
I didn't mean to interrupt. I just thought
I
maybe
think
it would fix something.
I think if you put it into speaker, they can't see it pinned on the recording.
So if I
I
try
think
it,
if
and
you put
if I
it in
leave it in
gallery,
gallery,
yeah.
but we can't see the pins, but
Nope.
do the pins stay? Sorry,
I'm so sorry, we're just having fun.
allowed to multi-pin?
That's okay.
Let me just try.
We really need technological engineers for this.
Yeah.
Add pin.
Here we go.
Okay, so maybe this will work.
So put your fingers in your nose. I'm talking. What I meant was that when you were at my Q&A, I gave you an assignment completely expecting that I would see you again. And it wasn't until afterwards when I was sitting and talking with Todd about it that I was like, I need to be more mindful about that the way that I'm doing things now, people are very free to come and go as they want. And I gave you a really, really rough assignment, home assignment. And I just wanted, to make sure that you were okay. Then I wanted to write you and make sure that you were okay. And yeah.
So sweet. No, that was fine. And it's good really because
oh, your sound went. Sound went.
Oh no. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh, I think there's something a bit funny with my laptop. That's fine because it keeps me on track because I do tend to sort of wander around and do this and do that. So it's good for me to engage with a group, and it's fine for you to give me things. So yeah, that's fine.
How are you?
I'm good. Yes, I'm good. I've been taking some notes to try to keep myself grounded in what I'm doing, and I've just booked a session with you, Todd, on the 30th.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I'm not sure. Is it London time? That's what I was going to ask.
That is actually the wonderful thing about Calendly, because we book it in our time zone and it comes up in your calendar in your time zone.
Oh, that's fantastic. Brilliant. Yeah. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check. So that's brilliant. So I will see you. So that will really help. Yes, I'll feedback a bit, shall I, about the homework?
Yeah,
I haven't really been asked to do things, really. I did say no to someone who asked me for some money on the street.
But maybe I should just sum up so everybody knows what we are talking about. And it's because, do you want me to do it or do you want to do it?
You do it.
Okay. So Beth was in my Q&A, and there was this situation where she really struggled with saying no. That people Beth is the type of person that no matter what you ask her, she will say yes. And right now she will say, no, it's not like that, but it is exactly like that. That she says yes no matter what, even though it comes to the point where there's nothing left of Beth, she will still keep giving and giving and giving because it's a boundary thing. And we had a long talk about it in the Q&A, and then I gave her the home assignment of saying no, of going into that room where she perceives herself as being evil and unpleasant and unkind and all of that, because that is in the box of saying no in Beth's world. So I asked her to be unpleasant and unkind and evil, to go into that room and see how that worked out for her. And then I just left her that. And that's what I meant with I felt a bit like,
Yeah.
So I'm really happy you're here, because I saw kind of like, the evil mastermind of Beth being out in the world, the evil twin of Beth being out in the world, kicking puppies and stealing Amazon parcels and stuff like that. So I'm really happy that you're here.
Well, nothing like that's happened. But I was reflecting a lot on it. I haven't really been asked to do much, really, since I saw you last. So there hasn't been the opportunity. But I did, afterwards, I did realise that, when people ask me to do something which perhaps I don't want to do, and I feel uncomfortable about it, I do get that feeling of being angry. Yeah, I feel angry about it. So I've been feeling that and contemplating that reaction. and how it does feel uncomfortable when I say no.
Mm.
But
Would you
I
like
still
would
get
would you mind if we go into that?
Mm.
Because I can feel you sitting and going like would you mind if we
Yeah.
go into that experience of you feeling, just having the thoughts about saying no, people asking you things you don't want to do, and then the connection with anger, that you have that feeling of anger about it?
Yeah. It's sort of like, oh my God, I'm going to have to make a decision now, and I'm going to have to think about this. I don't want to do that sort of feeling. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm going to have to decide something.
So this is after somebody has asked you a question, but before you've actually done the thing.
No, they might ask me something, and no, they ask me something, and then I've got to decide. Oh God, I'm going to have to react. I'm going to have to think. What do I think about it? What I'm going to say. Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like the anger is coming from being put into a certain position, or because you feel like you're not actually able to say no in that situation?
I've been put into something which I might not feel I know how to manage or say no without getting angry.
So the anger itself, though, isn't really related to the actual situation. The anger is really a deflection from feeling the uncomfortable feeling that you're getting into from being put in a situation that you don't know how to handle. Right? So
I think that's more accurate.
Sorry?
That feels more accurate.
Yeah.
So it sounds like somebody is asking you, will you take my dog for a month? And then you get this feeling of, and then it's like, oh God, I either have to say yes or no. And if I say no, then like there's something in me that's not equipped to deal with the repercussions of saying no to somebody. But if I say yes, I have to take care of this dog for a month. And so you're in like a lose-lose situation. So can you go into that feeling of not being equipped to say no? That feeling of what comes up. If I asked you, Beth, would you just watch my dog for 2 months? I mean, lovely dog, just, pees on the carpet just once a day. No big deal. No big deal. Not going to be a problem. I'll love you forever if you do it. I'm so thankful if you do it. I got nobody else to turn to.
I don't know what I think about it. I don't know how I feel about it, so I can't.
Don't go to the mind and the thinking. Come into the body. What is happening immediately in the body when someone asks you? You know what? And actually, I appreciate you thinking about taking care of my dog, but I also need $500 for this. For the trip that I'm going on. Could you also watch my dog and float me $500? What happens right in the body at that moment that the question gets
hot.
Huh?
I get hot. I get hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go down in. Touch into the body. What is happening in there?
I get I'm nervous in the heart area because I'm going to have to say something. I'm going to have to say what I think it happens more if I don't. I'm just going to have to say something.
Yep. If I may just interject.
Absolutely.
The whole point is, Beth, that you're not equipped to answer this question. We're putting you in position, and we're asking you a question that both of us know that you're not equipped to answer. And that's why we're helping you out with it, because we know that you're not equipped. So we completely got your back. You can go into the body and just stay with it, and then we're gonna catch you. No matter what comes up, we're gonna be here for you. We know that you're not equipped. You've never been taught how to say no. And that is what we're teaching you now. But you can only learn it by feeling what is the obstruction. And there's something happening in your body. I can see that your breath has changed. Your whole mimic has changed. Everything is different. So something is happening in your body that is triggering something. And that is what we're curious about.
I think it might have something to do with being asked questions. you know, in this view now, because I think that's why I don't participate in groups on scientific things, because I find it so incredibly, ooh, I'm going to have to say what I think, and
It's okay.
that's, so then there's something of that as well.
If you're more comfortable, I mean, if you booked a session, if you're more comfortable, we can always do more of this one-on-one if it's more of the public issue that is bothering you.
I think it's a bit of a mixture of things. I'm feeling okay. I'm just aware that I'm not going to get it right. I'm not going to say what.
There is no right. There are no right or wrong answers. It's just your experience, and we're just trying to we're using a platform to get in touch with this experience.
Yeah, I think that's a barrier to going down into the body to talk, to do anything, I guess, because it's this feeling of, oh, I'm not going to get this right, and I don't really know what to say, and I'm embarrassed.
Okay, may I ask you something? Have you ever considered not answering?
No, I can't. No, that would feel rude.
Because then then you're rude. There you go. Because then I'm just piling on with all the homework I have giving you another one. That whenever you're asked a question, asked to do something, that you say, I'm not sure, I need to sleep on that.
Yeah.
Because it will give you time to practice going into the body and feeling what is the body actually saying. So you're not doing anything because you're a good girl, and you're not doing anything because you want to be liked, but you're doing something because you feel your body is moving in that direction. But because you've never been taught how to do it, then it's a good idea to give yourself time. Exactly, give yourself time. So you have time to feel into, what does it actually feel like if I'm doing it? What does it actually feel like if I'm not doing it? And then you will have a more clear picture of what you actually feel about it, without the pressure of time, without the pressure of having to answer right now.
Yeah, it's the body, that body yes, the body no thing that doesn't really mean much to me.
Exactly.
Unless I really want to do something, and I can say yes, and I can say no to friends, you know, people I mean, I don't want to put this idea across that I say yes to everything. I don't. I think it's quite complicated, because it's just gone on for so long, and it's become enmeshed. I don't know, just feels very complex.
But it's also very complicated if we haven't been taught how to manage emotions, and we haven't been taught what a yes feels like and what a no feels like. Then it's and you know, a happy, enthusiastic yes, or a very reluctant yes. There's not a no in the vocabulary, and then we need to practice, because we need to know what a yes and a no is. We need, in order to navigate life. Otherwise, we're just yes sayers to everything, even the things we don't want to do. And it just becomes very
whenever there's a task to do, I'm usually like, oh no, go away. But I just think that's my ADHD brain, and you know, where does one thing where does one thing begin and another? I don't know. Sorry, I'm not very good at explaining myself.
I think you're I think you're very clear in explaining it. I think exactly what you're explaining right now is super recognizable for a lot of people. You're not the only one with this issue, you know.
Thank you. At the moment, my mind is telling me this is completely irrelevant to this, because it's got nothing to do with spirituality. It's got nothing to do with...
but it does.
Oh, but it does.
Oh.
That's what I've convinced myself. Yeah, that's what I'm telling myself.
If we haven't got any connection with the body at all, you cannot see through self.
Yeah, I think this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I would ask.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, go on.
Well, I had two questions actually. One was just because you brought that up. What is your definition of spirituality?
Well, it's everything really. You know, I think that's just a word I used because I didn't know what other word to use. I guess it's, you know, what we're doing here. It is everything.
Can you go more into the everything? Can you go more into the everything? When we talk about it's everything, because I think I know what you're getting at, but I think it really helps us because a lot of people don't have like a really clear definition of what awakening is, what spirituality is, what it is. It becomes very nebulous, and then it becomes harder to focus on the path that you're really on, but then also it's easier to have those deflective thoughts about, oh, well, this isn't part of it, or I shouldn't have to look into this or whatever, because then we arbitrarily assign this is in the spiritual world and this is psychology, or this is just day-to-day, not part of spirituality.
At the moment, I'm focusing on, well, I guess, seeing through the separate self.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm tending to focus while I'm doing those inquiries. I've listened to your YouTube videos, exercises, and I'm sort of bringing down my awareness into the heart area as the I am, as something that's a bit more authentic than thinking it's behind my eyes or my head. And that feels quite restful.
Good.
So I don't really know what I mean by spirituality, to be honest. It is a word to describe lots of different things, different times, different people. Oh,
It's
can you see me?
Yeah, I can still see you. I can hear you.
Wow, I can't see myself. So yeah.
I would invite you to look into that though, and try to get a feel for not just the seeing through self, because that's a really good first step on the path. But figure out what your end goals are for this. What are your motivations for why you're doing it? And
Yeah.
see what aligns with it. Because when we talk about this sort of thing, as Pernille was just saying, the all of these old traumas, old habits, thought patterns, they are so tightly interwoven into what feels like a self and the idea of the self. And so the first fetter of being with the identification with thoughts, seeing through that is one thing, but then having all of the emotional stuff that we still identify with in the second fetter, you're either going to be working on that, after you see the first initial glimpse of, oh, I'm not my thoughts, and then you still have all these other things that still feel very much like a self, or we're working on them sort of back and forth interchangeably, because those emotional things that you have hooked into that you haven't let go of, or that are still there, are helping to reinforce that sense of self, and it helps reinforce that the logical assumption that I am my thoughts. And so it's all this kind of, it's not like a super linear, and they're not really distinct individual fetters that don't in any way connect or interrelate. It's all this kind of back and forth working.
Yeah, and it's a super good point. And it's also the part about all the fetters are just concepts. It's just different ways that we assume an identity, or we assume that there being an I in 10 different ways. And the only way that we actually can get through that is by coming into the body. What we did with the first centering, well, when you just sit and breathe, if you inhale now and you exhale now, it's air going into your lungs, expanding in your chest, the belly goes out, and you exhale, and it's the other way in reverse. But when you remove the label of that, the felt experience of that is something completely different. You can't even feel that you have lungs. Unless you are, got pneumonia or something like that, you can't even feel your lungs. You can just feel some tingling sensation in a different way, whether you're inhaling or exhaling. They're not even any lungs anymore. And it's a really, really good way. You have an amazing guiding with that. I don't think it's
Which one?
No, it's the one where you're looking into the self, into that tingling sensation that you have where you believe you have a self, and then you draw attention to the foot. And
Oh yeah.
and there's also a tingling sensation in the foot. So what is the difference between the self and the foot? So it's like it's that mind-created belief about having a self that you can only see through. Or it's a very good way to see, not only see through, but it's a good way to see through by connecting via the body.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'll think about that. I'll feel it.
Good.
Yeah, because there's no distinction. Your experience is one whole experience, and we kind of parse it out into these different fetters because it gives us some sort of grasp on something to look into as far as this is an illusion, that's an illusion, this is a belief that we can see through. But beyond that, there is no part of your experience ever in your life that is secular versus spiritual versus mundane versus
psychological. Emotional.
It is all of one piece, and it's all interrelated. So
yeah,
it's just like we have this idea that there's a difference between body, mind, and soul, and there's not. It's exactly the same kettle of fish. It's all the same. It's just different ways of addressing it and getting in contact with it.
yeah. I have a lot of fear, I think, around it. Well, maybe I can go into this with you, Todd. But
yeah. I just want to, yeah. Just to answer the question that was just in the chat, I just remembered that it is not a guiding. It is actually it
was something I had done in a session, in a one-to-one session. It was a one that just popped out as I was working with somebody. So I don't actually have a video for that yet, but
it was just one of the brilliant things you've done. I tend to watch the one-on-ones that Todd that he has, because there's a lot of stuff that so it's actually not in an inquiry yet.
Yeah, but it's one that was very effective, so I think it will actually become an inquiry.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much,
and,
Beth.
oh, Beth, sorry, one other just quick follow-up. Sorry.
Go on.
You had asked, or you had said that the body yes and no doesn't really mean much to you at this point. And I just was wondering, the way that you had said it, I didn't know if that meant that you didn't have a good feeling of it, whether it was whether you could get a sense of it or not, or if it was because you just it didn't feel like it was relevant in that given situation, but you could still feel it.
No, I think I felt it as anger and annoyance, but that was covering up what I
exactly. In that, I would just like to emphasize what Todd talked about earlier, that when we feel that anger and annoyance, it's just a very, very convenient diversion away from the feeling that we do not know how to manage. So the bodily sensation that you have, the feeling that you have in the body, you do not know how to manage. Anger, on the other hand, let me tell you, so therefore you divert with anger and go into that one instead of staying here. What we normally do with anger.
And the anger is a powerful external based emotion. So it's something where you feel internally this weak vulnerability, this feeling of like, I'm not equipped for this, I can't handle this, I don't want to have to do this. That's really uncomfortable, but it's much easier then to feel that big sense of anger at how dare they put me in this situation, and then you're directing completely out of the body, so you're not feeling that anymore, and now it's put on this other person for violating your space and your boundaries and all of that, and it completely takes it out of that weak vulnerability that you don't want to feel.
I don't tend to do that, but I struggle to say no, and I get a bit maybe rude or something.
It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum, but it's anywhere along that line is a way of defending ourselves from having to feel the thing we really don't want to feel.
I do relate. You know, when I was young, there was no teaching of autonomy.
You
know, so
I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're here. Keep going, and keep looking into it. And
got my notebook.
Amazing. Good student. I love that. Thank you so much, Ben.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Then it's Rowena. Yay.
Hi.
Hello.
Good to see you.
So, working with the fourth fetter, I was sort of quite surprised to have to have to revisit a want, very delusional, based on, in a way, I guess, on grief, a refusal to move on, from actually when I moved from the States, and the home that we had there, where the move from the States, everything came, all the sort of thing around the family, everything came tumbling down. And then my husband became ill, and so this house, that I so wanted to go back. I so wanted to have it back, you know, and but also all the identification with it, of the, in a way, the hiding behind it, because it represented a time of life when, of family and being, you know, having sort of like a purpose and meaning, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you know, what is this? And so I could see all the identification with it, and somehow all the way I suppose I could see, I could say I was like hiding behind it in a way, you know, because it was there, it was a thing, it was like an object constancy type of thing, if that makes sense. But then there was a trail of other times of loss, and in a way the refusal, and it felt very, in a way, childlike. And I didn't want to go into all the identifications. I just sort of sat with the energy. But I felt this sort of outward pull of like, I want this, you know. And then I was just left with going through the sensation, revisiting. I looked at pictures at the house, and then sort of got had the sensory reaction, and just and it did, and it became much quieter. But my question is that really it seemed to me that I was taken back into the second fetter, and that this grief, and in a way, or the refusal, there was a part of me in the body, a child part, because obviously I had, you know, was very keen, very happy when the house was sold and all the, you know, at the time, but I didn't realize that there was still this kernel of sadness, and still something stuck there. So in the end, it seems that the only thing was to do was, my question is, just being in the calm, being in the space with this energy of like, I want that sort of, I felt it was childlike, and just holding the space for those emotions, just to be there, revisit, and seeing the thread with other times or other experiences that I've had of loss, that I can link up the same type of feeling of not easily being able to move forward. And just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. We actually both work a lot with that, and we use the seventh fetter for that. The seventh fetter is creating something out of nothing. For example, time. That we have this idea of time, that time is linear, that we have a now and we have a future and we have a past, and because time is not real, for everybody that are sitting and going, pardon, then we will get to this at some point. But I just want to just shortly, very, very comprised, talk about how we work with it. Because time doesn't exist, you can walk in and out of future and the past. And the advantage with that is that the more knowledge you gain now, and the more awareness you have now, the more awakened you are now, you can go back to previous periods in your life and be your parent, be your loving mother and your protective father, where you are you the way that you are right now. Because if you look back, for example, to your childhood, if you had had the Ravina that you are today by your side, then your life would have been completely different. You would have had a parental guidance that you didn't have at that time. And when we heal the past, when we heal ourselves in reverse, that is what we're doing. So we have worked a lot with that for both of us, going back into time and with the parent and with the adult that we are now, and healing the things in reverse that needs to happen. What you do is practically that you sit down, you close your eyes, and you imagine the period. Actually, would you mind talking about? I'm just muting you guys a bit.
Wait, which one?
Do you remember when we were standing in the kitchen? You had, if I'm overstepping, just saying, and you had that feeling where everything being rushed with the death of your auntie, and your the death of your grandmother, and you didn't have time in the house to say goodbye. There were so many feelings about it. So we went back.
Yeah.
You went back, and you were sitting with the child with the cookie and the milk, and healing that part. Do you remember that?
I remember parts of it. My memory is atrocious.
Yeah, but it's that's the whole issue with it.
Yeah.
That's the whole issue. When you start to do these things where you go in and out of time, when you heal a wound in past, it's going to be healed and you will forget all about it. Because in every single moment, there's a new you. Your cells are dying all the time and new cells are being emerging all the time. So there's 2 days from now, the person that is sitting here at this meeting right now will not be there 2 days from now. And your body keeps pushing the reboot all the time, which means that you forget what is happening. That's why we can look back at a past experience and go like can't even remember it. But when you start to heal in reverse, you forget because it's healed. So there's no need to hold on to it anymore. The hook is unhooked. Yeah. And it's healed, and then you forget. So I'm sitting and asking you about something.
I remember like standing in the kitchen talking about something, and I remember it being, but I don't remember the context of why we even brought it up.
Do you want me to
feel free. Yeah,
okay,
feel free.
I can just talk about it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll if there's any facts that are wrong, I'll just correct, but go for it.
Good. Consent. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you. What happened was that Todd was in a situation where he has been like the head of the entire family. He's a Middle Eastern descent, so it's very much about families. And there's not been a male in the family for a long time. So that was his role, and has been for his grandparents, for his aunties, for his mother. So he was the one taking care of it.
That's super helpful.
Yeah. Anyways, so when the family started to die off, he was the one that was, in charge of it. And when you are in charge of an estate and all of that needs to be sorted out, there's not really space for any feelings and emotions. And everything was very, very rushed.
Yeah.
With them.
Yeah. It's some of it is coming as you're saying it. Some of
you remember?
Yeah, because I was taking care of my aunt's estate when she passed away, and it was my grandparents' house was the house that my mother and everybody grew up in, and so I was taking care of my mom at that point, whose health was really, really bad, and so I was going back and forth, cleaning out to sell this house that has been in the family since the 1950s. And with all the stuff in it, and then having to give off stuff to my cousins or whoever was supposed to have stuff, and then liquidate everything else and do all of that while still taking care of my mom. It was an extremely rushed process. And I remember not feeling like I didn't have time to grieve, is what we were talking about the whole death
and the whole thing came up. The whole thing came up with you hearing a tune from a cartoon. We talked about a cartoon. Yeah,
this is the part I don't remember.
You heard a tune from a cartoon, and then you remembered the taste of cookies and milk, and then you remembered how you used to go home to your grandmother and having the cookies and the milk, and then you remembered that you actually never had time to grieve the loss of her and the loss of the house. And you felt you teared up, and you really was super emotional. So we went back in time. We did the 7 Fetter, and you went back in time, and you were sitting as a child, having your cookies and your milk for the last time when your nan was your grandmother was in the house. She was alive, and you could say goodbye to everything. And then that unhooked it.
Yeah, it's amazing because I literally only remember parts of that now.
Yeah,
that's wild.
But the reason why you forget it is that there's not a hook anymore.
Yeah.
And when you unhook the past like that, you forget it because it's not a hook anymore. You only remember things that are valuable for you to remember or to have. So the more you unhook, the more you will forget. So sorry, Ravina, we just had a conversation here.
Hopefully that was helpful to somebody.
Yeah. So what I would recommend you to do is to sit down and imagine the house that you miss and all the sadness that you have about the house. Close your eyes and go through every single room one last time and give yourself time to grieve about this room and all the wonderful experiences you had in that room, and go to the next room and remember how it was when the sun came in through the window, and how it looked in the winter and how it looked in the fall. And so you really, really put a lot of emphasis on the feelings in your body in every single room, and allow yourself to grieve it. And you, as Ravina you are today, are with the Ravina at the time in the room. So you have your back in the experience, and then unhook whatever, experience everything and unhook whatever needs to be unhooked.
Yeah, that makes sense, because of course when you're moving and doing all these other things, you don't give yourself time. You just,
No.
I was super pleased because I was so efficient and I did this and I did that. But it's interesting because I did a lot of grieving when I arrived in Belgium. I mean, for a long time, there were so many things. And so I was really surprised that it, jumped into the picture. So clearly I hadn't done anything like that. So thank you.
Yeah.
No, we really compartmentalize so much in times. I mean, I remember after my mom died, having to, clean out all the stuff in this house and take care of everything. And I remember expecting to be really grieving in a way that would be tangible, and it wasn't. I had like boundless energy. I was like up at, I was sleeping for like 4 hours, and I'd get up and I'd be doing stuff and donating stuff, and it would just be like go, go, go. And I'd be on the treadmill every day, and it was just like boundless energy. And then the grief came like a year later, and it was like everything had just been kind of shut off, locked away so that everything could get taken care of, fully functional, and then the stuff comes out. So
and that is where you can use the seventh feather to go back in time with the person you are now, with the knowledge you have now, with the awakening you have now, and truly experience all of it and unhook what needs to be unhooked, and feel what in your body what needs to be felt, because that's why it comes up.
That's why it's there. Yeah,
exactly. That there's something in there that you haven't felt yet. There's areas that needs to be felt and acknowledged, and then you can let go of it.
Yeah, great. And I want to just say thanks to Lisa too, because the other day we were talking and she said, I think you need to work more on that. And so I took that. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, wonderful, Lisa.
Yeah.
We all love Lisa.
we do.
Thank you so much, Ravina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
That was a long talk about us, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you unpinned us. But...
Oh, I unpinned us. There we go. And it is Ginny.
I think if you pin us first, we stay pinned.
Not if I unpin us.
If you unpin us. Hey, Janine.
Hey, Janine.
Good to see you. How are you?
Isn't that a loaded question?
Oh, it always is. That's why I love it so much.
Well, first of all, thank you all for your presence. I really appreciate it. So since our last meeting, I attended a Buddhist sesshin last weekend, and it was rather hellish.
Oh, no.
There was a belief that I saw about how there was a programming essentially that happened from around age 3, I think, maybe even before, of specialness. And I remembered my parents would play a game. I come from a family of 5. I'm the youngest, and the rest of the siblings are much older. So I was kind of raised as an only child and got to do things that my other siblings didn't, because my parents didn't have enough money or resources at the time. So when we would go out to eat or go to a movie, the game would be, oh, look at all the heads turning to look at this little Janine, guys, girls, children, this something about Janine, there's something about Janine. So that's when this began, and I believed it. I believed it and lived my life as if I'm something, I don't know, very special. And the thing is, whether it's academics, singing, writing, art, artwork, pastel, I seem to be adept at a lot of things. A lot of emotion coming through.
Yeah.
So I've always been either especially very good or especially bad, and it didn't matter as long as it was special. So when I couldn't handle the responsibility of being so special, in addition to all kinds of other probably traumas, it turned in on itself as, you know, decades of suicidal despair. So in this sesshin, I see this belief, and I was doing a little bit of the work. Well, you know, is this true? Is this belief true? Or how would I feel if this didn't exist at all? And I felt that, and that was peaceful. But then immediately there was a thought, oh, I've got to, when I see the Zen teacher explain how I located this belief and I let go of this belief, and, like, you know, get that validation from the teacher. And then like, what are you doing? So I did a massive self-inquiry during the walking and seated meditation. And there were times when I felt like I was imploding. This building is coming down. And there was the thought that, okay, I realize I'm a deluded asshole. Can I please just go home now? Home with a capital H. So the sesshin was a few days, and I met with the different teachers at different times, and it felt like it was a conversation. It was interesting. And then there were some practices, and then the conversation continued, and then practices. And so just all of this is moving through all of this stuff. And so when I got home from the retreat, my old friend depression arrived very, very intensely, you know, not in a suicidal way, but just very strong. So I rested a lot. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm willing to do anything. I'm willing to look at all this stuff, feel what I have to feel. And there's certainly a press for, please just get through this, This is horrible. I don't want any more years of this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And I don't trust the modern Western model. I don't trust therapists. I don't want to be a better, healthier self. I want to see I determined. I don't even know what. But this whatever I think that I am feels like I don't know how to do this. And I don't want to suffer. And I don't want to play this game of specialness anymore. I don't know what to do or not to do.
Breathe. Breathe. Breathe, my friend. Come on, breathe. Breathe.
The hand is moving.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Just let it out. Yeah, I see the resistance to it.
There's a sensory experience
Yeah.
in the body. There's something that is felt in the body that you refuse to feel. And it's why it keeps coming up. So could I ask you to put your tip of the tongue up in the palate, so you relax in the jaw, and then shake your hands. You're sitting and having a fist. Shake your hands. Yeah, shake your shoulders. Yeah, and breathe and breathe and breathe. Yeah. It's okay. Let the body move as the body moves. It's okay. It's okay. There's so much held back. There's something in the body that just needs to be expressed. Just allow it to be there. It's completely fine. You're not going to break. You're not going to break. And every time you have a thought come in, just detach the thought and just stay with the sensory experience in the body. Just stay with what is happening in the body. Shake your hands, shake your shoulders. Just keep your jaw relaxed. Just allow it to be there. You're here right now. We're here with you. It's okay. Breathe, breathe, breathe. It's okay. Whenever a thought comes in, just release the thought. Release the thought. Just stay with the sensory experience. Whatever is happening in the body, it's okay. The body is moving as the body is moving. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And whenever a thought comes in, you just release the thought. Release the thought. Release the thought. Just stay with the body. Beautiful. Breathe, breathe. It's wonderful. Beautiful. Okay. Relax your jaw. Really wonderful. You're right here. Beautiful. Relax your jaw. And whenever a thought comes in, you just release it and you just breathe. Yeah. Wonderful. Release your hands. Release your hands. Good. Good. Could you tap your feet a bit, because I can see that you're tensing your hips. If you just tap your feet a little bit so you're relaxing your hips. Good. Wonderful. Release your hands. Could you shake your hands a bit? Wonderful. And every time a thought comes in, you just release the thought and you're just in your body. Beautiful. So if you keep your eyes closed, close your eyes. Do you see that suffering is a thought? Yeah. Do you see that Janine being special or not being special? It's a thought. Oh, relaxing your jaw. There's something connected still with the thought of Janine being special and not special. Can you ever be special and not special, or are you just? It's a thought. Go on, go on, go on. Breathe, breathe, breathe. You're holding back again. Go on. Beautiful, beautiful. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I feel like saying I'm sorry. And I don't know.
Yeah. Tap your feet. Tap your feet. Tap your feet. Relax in your. Can you do a Kegel? So you do a Kegel and you relax in the Kegel again. Beautiful. That was your spine. Good. Move your hands. Good. Relax in your jaw. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay. Every time a thought comes in, you release it. It's just you sitting with the sensory experience in the body. And it's tingling and it's buzzing and it's constricting and it's and you just breathe into it. It's okay. Beautiful. So do you see that suffering is just a thought? It's just being in the body. And a contraction can happen, and if you don't attach any thought to it, exactly, beautiful. You just release the thought. And whatever sensory experience that is attached to the thought, it will release. It takes about 7 seconds and then it's gone. And you just keep releasing the thought. Could you shake your hands a bit, please? Thank you. And move your feet so we get your shoulders back. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. What's that? Okay, breathe, breathe, breathe. It's okay, it's okay. Move the body, it's okay. Move it out. It's good. It's good. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. In the muscles that are tensing up in you, you're about 7 years old. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I'm right here, I'm right here. Breathe, breathe.
Here.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Janine and Pernille and Todd are right here. It's fine, it's fine. The fear can be there. Can you be in a body that's full of fear? Good, good. Breathe, shake your hands, shake your hands. You're not constricted, you're not constricted. Yeah, beautiful. Breathe, breathe. The feeling you have about not being able to breathe, could I ask you to inhale deeply? It's just a thought. It's just a thought. You can breathe deeply. And if you can't, can you be in a body that can't breathe? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. Detach the thought and just stay with the body. It's okay. Beautiful. Yeah.
Taking up too much time.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We got all day. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, breathe. You need to relax your jaw. Relax your jaw. Whatever sound is there, just make the sound. Make the sound. You're restricting in your throat and in your jaw. Just relax. Shake your hands. Shake your hands. Shake your hands. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Beautiful. You see that suffering is just a thought. If we allow the body to release what is there and we keep detaching the thought, it can be decades that are released within minutes. Yeah. Beautiful. Could you tap your feet a bit? Your breathing is much deeper. It's beautiful. Do you see that depression is just a thought? There's a sensory experience in the body that we're restricting, that we don't want to feel. And we're putting a label on it and call it depression. But if you detach depression, the label depression, there's a sensory experience that just begs us to be felt. And when we feel it, it's just that. And we allow the body to move the way that the body moves. And then it's done. Yeah. Relax in your jaw. There's another wave coming. Relax in your jaw. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's just a wave. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. Every thought you have, you just attach and you just stay in the body. And when the moment you feel that the wave is starting to diminish and be less, you tap your feet and you shake your hands, relax in your jaw. And breathe. Beautiful. Beautiful. May I ask you to open your eyes? Look at your picture on the screen. Hello. Look at you. So take everything in that you see. Do you see that the feeling you have in the body and how the body looks are not the same? Sometimes when we go through what you just gone through, when we look at ourselves, we almost don't recognize ourselves. It's because you used to see yourself with a perception and now you really see you. All the thoughts you had about Janine, do you see that it's just thoughts? There's something completely different happening. That is beyond thoughts. It's a sensory experience and it's beyond everything that we perceive to be reality. Breathe. You're forgetting to breathe. You're getting back into thought. Relax in your jaw. There's a tension coming in your jaw. Relax in your jaw. For you, this is, and for everyone, this is very much about noticing what is happening in the body and detaching the thought that we have. to what is happening in the body. It's two completely different things. Two completely different things. And all the suffering is in the thought. And the lived experience and the direct experience is in the body. It's through our senses in the body, and it's a completely different ballgame. When we are in the sensory experience and we're detaching the thought, it's just contentment. Whatever is happening is okay. If the body's shaking, it's okay. If the body's breathing or not breathing, it's okay. Whatever is happening in the body, it's completely fine. It's the thoughts that are judging if something is wrong or too much, or shouldn't be like it is, or should be different, or should be anything. That is just thoughts. If you detach the thoughts, you have the bodily sensation. You have the bodily experience. And that's all there is. When we do this work, and all this work that Janine just did, all of you can do that at any point. You don't need me for that. You don't need me for that. You can do this at any point. That whenever you have a sensory experience in the body, you allow it to be there. Whatever the body is doing, if it's shaking or screaming or whatever is happening, just go with it. Detach all thought and just allow it to be there. You're not going to break. You're not going to go insane. It's just thoughts that are telling you that. In the body, there's just emotions happening, sensations happening. If you detach everything with it, then you just allow to be with what needs to be with. Be born with. I don't know what you say, how you say that. You're just allowing what is. Where you are right now, it's not a place that we can stay in. We have a life where we need to drive a car, pay our bills, go to the dentist, all the things. So we can't stay where Janine is right now. But we can practice to go into that space. And then coming back to the pretend, where we act as if we have agency and as if we have a body and a soul and we're walking around and making plans. That is just, it's just a game. It's not real. What Janine is right now, that's real. The whole story about her being special or not being special, or having depression or not having depression, all that, it's just story. It's just a movie, just like Bourne or James Bond or any other movie. It's just a movie. It's just a theater. It's just a play. Reality is where there's nothing attached to it. And it's just unfolding now and now and now and now. There's nothing attached to it. And it's just contentment. Whatever is happening, if the body is shaking or screaming or whatever is happening, is completely fine. Completely fine. So Janine, I would like for you to sit and breathe. Stay where you are. Do not go offline. I would like to catch up with you just before we end, but just wrap yourself up in blankets. Just sit and notice how it is to be in a body without thoughts. And then I'm going to come back to you. Okay? Beautiful, beautiful woman. Thank you so much. And then it's Timo. Timo in the hot seat. Hello, my friend. So good to see you. I'm happy you found this way.
Yeah. Hello.
I love your I love your backdrop. It's amazing.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I've done some streaming myself, so it's partially for that.
Really good. So what brings you here? How have you found us? What are you doing Fetter-wise?
Well, my partner linked me one of Pernille's videos, and she's much into non-dualism and such, and well, I don't know. It came at the right time, and I have experience with meditation, and I think I've been very much you know, like on a spiritual path for a long time, but it sort of comes and goes, and I think like a week ago, through some of these videos, I in a way picked it up again and started to pay more attention to my thoughts and how I identify with them, and then draw my attention more so to my body and its sensations. And I've been depressed a lot in my life, and like past months or weeks, quite depressed. And then like past week, as I've been putting more attention to my body, and just like consciously drawing it away from my thoughts, I have noticed that you know, that sort of identity, or these thoughts I don't identify with and so on, it has become somewhat weaker, and I have not felt so sort of heavily drawn down by such things. And well, I think the reason I'm here now today is this is my first meeting of this sort, and Pernille advised one to define a group or guide or so on in one of her videos. So here I am, and I think what I may be looking for here now today is just perhaps you might get some sort of a general read on where I am and what I might want to especially focus on in my work, because right now it's just this vague notice I am thinking, and okay, let it go and pull my attention to my body.
Yeah,
that's just what I've been doing, and it feels a bit bland at times. I feel like, oh, perhaps I should be doing more or paying attention to something specific and so on.
Yeah, I actually would like if you would have you seen through self? When we talk about seeing through self, have you done inquiries to seeing through self?
Like ask the question, who am I? Or
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
kind of,
but not.
kind of, but not.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise I would love for Todd to guide you. He is amazing in helping people see through self. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, why not?
Thanks. All right. So you've done, it sounds like a who am I kind of inquiry before?
Yeah, some. But I must say, like, whenever I've tried it, nothing comes up.
So yeah, so were you doing it in the kind of like koan tradition where you just kind of say it over and over again and then wait for the mind to kind of burn itself out trying to figure out?
Okay.
Was that the kind of style that you were doing with it?
Well, not so much. I think it was just posing the question internally and seeing what comes up. And you know, like at least at thought level, I recognize that there is no I can understand that, but I think like experience at the level of experience, you know, it hasn't quite clicked yet.
That's what Todd, he's a mastering that. So I would love for you to do that with him.
Way to amp up the expectations.
Yeah. Everybody can sit
okay, bring it on.
Of their seat. Come on, Todd. Come on.
like Vince,
the pressure.
Like Vince, it's gonna be gold. I have no idea what you're saying. It's gonna be gold. All right. So yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to investigate in this moment what actually feels like a self. What is it that's being falsely taken to be you, Timo? All right. So to do this, I want you to close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, really settle in, focus your attention down into the body, and you can feel like we did at the very beginning with Pernille's introduction. Feel the weight pulling you down into the chair. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your butt against the seat. Just feel the kind of heaviness in the body. And allowing the breath to be perfectly normal. Get kind of a clear view of the whole body as a cloud. Without going deeply into a body dissolving meditation, I just want you to see if you can get a sense of the body as a whole, not as an image. Don't just try to create a mental overlay of what you think your body looks like right now. Just feel if it feels like a cloud of indiscriminate sensation. Can you feel necessarily where you are in space? Can you feel where your limbs are? Can you feel your arms touching your legs? And if so, just put a little attention there and see if the boundary starts to slip. See if it starts to become a little more difficult to tell the boundary of where one limb begins and another ends, where your skin ends and the air begins. So I want you now to go up to where we assume the head to be. And I want you to start scanning slowly from the top of the head down through the body, or down through the field that we assume is the body. And as you do it, I want you to look for whatever feels like me, whatever feels like Timo. And to do that, it might help to actually say the words me, Timo, or I, and see if something in particular lights up. If something feels a little bit brighter, if something feels like there is a contraction, it might feel like there's just more of an energetic buzzing. Whatever you feel, just take your time slowly going through your head, down through the neck, down through the shoulders and chest, all the way down, keeping an eye out for any part that feels like a me, or that lights up when you say the word me or Timo or I. And let me know where you're sensing anything different, anything unique, anything that is standing out to you.
I think I feel most pressure in my head, throat, and heart areas.
Excellent. So let's take those three. Does it feel like one of those in particular is the self, or does it feel like it's a combination of the three?
Well, this thought comes up that the true self might be the heart, but the head and throat, they feel kind of uncomfortable, perhaps sort of tense. So those might be more sort of this thought level
Okay, that's good.
identity.
That's good. So we'll take the thoughts off of it and we'll come back to just the sensations in the body. And since the heart seemed to be the one that had the most right now feeling of selfiness to it, let's go down to the feeling in the heart. And can you describe to me exactly what you're feeling there? And if you need to amp up the sensation, again, pick one of those words that enlivens it.
Well, it feels open and warm and comfortable. True.
Good. Okay. How do you define true in this situation?
Well, you know, that it's not false, it's not, it is something real, not constricted. It is something that
So-
has expanded and, you know, open.
So for right now, we're going to take the value judgment of true or false off of the sensations, because we know there are apparently sensations there, but there's an assumption that an open, expanded sensation means truth, and a constricted, contracted sensation means that it's false. But that's just a thought. We have taken that on as a belief from someplace else. And so we're going to let that one go for right now. And we're just going to come back to what it is that you're experiencing. So right now, you're feeling something that feels open and warm in the chest, right?
Right.
Can you go further into those sensations and explore that? And as you're feeling what's really there, I want you to ask, is this me? Is this the root of Timo? Is this myself? What comes up?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just some speculation at thought level when it comes up.
Good. So let that go. So when you feel into that sensation and you feel into that openness and that warmth, do any images come up? Do any thoughts come up about this having anything to do with anything other than a cloud of sensation? How is the self part of this being known outside of a thought saying warmth and openness means truth?
Well, this might be sort of meta level, but I think there is some reservation or anxiety about, because I think I'm quite neurotic, so like, you know, doing the right thing or perhaps holding up what is going on here because I don't know what you are after specifically.
That's okay.
That's not necessarily important. I'm just
Yeah.
expressing it that I can notice something like that going on.
Thank you
And
for
while
that. Good. So just let that go, because that's just another passing thought. We'll leave that aside for right now. Now, I would like you to once again scan from the top of the head down through and notice if those other parts that you had noticed, the behind the eyes and the head and the throat, are they still calling out to you as being perhaps in some way relevant to the feeling of being a self?
Well, I think the strongest sensation right now is the throat, and yeah.
So come into that sensation and tell me, when you feel that sensation, can you first of all describe how it feels?
It's sharp and burning.
Good. Good. So can you just be with that sensation and notice if anything comes up while you're sitting with it? It doesn't have to, but just notice if any images appear in the mind, if any thoughts come up, if you hear anything. Just let me know if anything comes up, if it does.
I think it's either fear or anger, and it seems to be connected to the heart. Like when I focus on the throat, then the heart sort of becomes stronger, the sensation there.
So when you focus on the intense feeling in the throat, the heart feels warmer and more open?
Yeah, it seems so, yeah.
Okay. So can you go into that feeling in the throat again and ask the feeling, why are you here? What do you have to tell me? Does anything come up?
Well, at least previously I had this thought or idea that something about not getting to express myself, perhaps in the childhood, something that has been left unsaid.
Good, really good. So we're not going to get attached to it like it's a narrative of Timo, that this is a history thing that is going to be it's been a pattern my whole life, and I am somebody who just can never speak their mind and never say what they want. We're not going to make another identity out of that, but can you be with that sensation that's here right now and feel a sense of love towards it? Feel that okayness about the urge to be able to speak your mind. Feel that that love for this contraction. Feel that love for this burning, because it's here to send a message, right? It's not something that we need to get rid of. It's something that's bringing something to your attention which has gone unnoticed. So I want you to just feel into that sensation with a sense of love and compassion. Is it okay for that sensation to be there?
Yeah.
And do you notice anything going on in your heart while you were doing that, sending love and compassion to the throat?
Well, it feels reasonably open and soft. Just feels a bit uncomfortable, sort of constricting the throat area, but it's not unbearable or anything.
Good. And we want to recognize that the sensations and these contractions that are there, they're never really unbearable. We just want to have the ability to sit with them, allow them to be, and have that sense of compassion towards them, because they are there for something. They're bringing up something that's relevant now. It doesn't matter whether it actually had anything to do with some past history when Timo was 7 and couldn't speak his mind. What's relevant is that right now there is a belief that Timo is not allowed to speak his mind. So we want to have compassion for that, and we can investigate. If we had more time, we would investigate more into what's going on with that. But for the time being, what I would like you to do, because this part of the self-inquiry is something which can really be the linchpin to holding on to those identities, that feelings of identification. And so if we can start to be with and recognize and loosen these emotional underpinnings, they can start to let go of those threads. It's like pulling apart a sweater thread by thread, and it starts to unwind this whole feeling of self-identity. So that could be a large part of it. If you don't have a part that feels very obviously like, this is me, this is where I am located in the body, then it means that you probably have these other emotional contractions that are being experienced. But one thing that I would like you to go away with is to recognize, again, feeling into that sensation in your throat, and recognize that there's nothing about that sensation that is distinctly Timo, right? In the head, the throat, and the heart all came up as potential places that felt the most alive, the most like you, but none of them really felt like, I am definitely here in my throat, or I am definitely here behind my eyes, or I'm definitely here in my heart.
Yeah, nothing like that, no.
Good. So what I want you to recognize is that the sensation in the throat, even though it is just sharp, burning, seemingly localized to that area, and the sensation in the chest, even though it feels open, warm, expansive, that those are both just sensations. Our designation of them and our judgments of them can be very different. So we could say that the throat feels closed and that feels wrong and that's false. And we can say that the heart feels open and that's truthful. And so that's something right. But those are just thoughts that we have learned and stacked over what are just raw sensations. And so I want you to get curious about and notice that there is no difference in the sensations in the throat and the sensations in the heart in terms of the meaning, in terms of the actual experience of them. And there's nothing there that says one of them is more Timo or me or a self than any other sensation.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
So when we do the sort of self-inquiry that we're talking about, it's not so much coming up with a vague idea of who am I, and then just waiting for something to appear. And it's not so much the Zen koan style of just burning the mind out until it shuts down. What we're doing is looking for indirect experience, and direct experience is without any thought labels, without any content of the thought being believed, because thoughts can still be there in direct experience, but it's the content of the label that's not. So it's just the fact that direct experience is raw feeling, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and the fact that a thought is visible or audible. But beyond that, we just come down to the actual raw experience of whatever we're feeling. And in that direct experience, we look for any possible thing that could be mistaken to be a self. And is that coming in the form of internal images, mental overlays, a unquestioned belief that a sensation in the chest could be a me? Stripping all of those off bit by bit, we come to what is actually there and see for ourselves once, twice, over and over again, as many times as is needed, to recognize that there is nothing here that could be felt or taken to be a self without another layer of thought saying that it's so. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very empirical.
Yeah, exactly. So just doing a quick scan again through the body, is there anything that jumps out to you as being a self? So anything here that could possibly be taken to be a self in this moment?
Well, it very much depends on the definition of self. Of course, we didn't do that yet, but
It does, yeah.
but nothing constant or some eternal, always true and always the same way kind of a thing pops up. Obviously, it's just sensations.
Yeah,
that's it.
Do you have a definition of self?
Well, I'd then speak of the formless and how it is oneness and everything, and just yeah.
Is that your experience, or is that something you've learned?
I think I could say it's both. I have experienced things in relation to this as well, yeah, myself.
And have you experienced it and then put a label on it of oneness, of, big S self, or awareness or presence, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very prone to creating concepts and conceptualizing the reality.
Yeah. Does reality need to be conceptualized?
No.
Does it add anything to it?
Not really. I think in the end it's just a game, just entertainment.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a habit of wanting to classify things in order to know them. And it gives us a sense of security when we feel that we know something. And so all of this is grasping at creating a concept so that we feel like we have this thing in a box. Now I'm safe. Now I know what it is. There's no ambiguity left. Even if I don't know what I am as a small self, I know that I am a part of this bigger unity of the cosmos, of consciousness, or whatever. And now I'm not small, I'm not insignificant, I'm not going to die, I'm not going to be vulnerable in any way, because now I'm everything. And that's a really comfortable belief to take on, but we're questioning even that in the long run. So it's slowly giving up that need to conceptualize absolutely everything, and to be comfortable with the unknown, with the mystery, with the vulnerability of not knowing, the vulnerability of just absolute an okayness with not knowing. It's an equanimity that comes with the need to not classify and to not grasp, because all of those things ultimately run into the face of other beliefs and other people who have contrary experiences. And so it just becomes an endless game where we are always comparing our experiences to others, comparing our systems and concepts to others, and it just leads us down this rabbit hole of never-ending seeking and never-ending self-deception. So that's why we come right back to direct experience and just see what's there, and notice anytime a label gets affixed to it. Every time we want to put on some concept over it, and just let that go and come back to what's really there.
Yeah, I think like a lot of my thinking is and has been very compulsive, and it just happens by itself, and it probably comes from whatever experiences in the past. I don't really care, but I think like I felt very trained for a long time, very tired. Like I felt that I am more tired than I should be. Like why does it feel like everything's such a burden? And like I'm guessing that it may have something to do with how active my mind is.
Yes.
Thinking,
You know,
is
like it's all the time going to like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's-
everywhere. So like if I could just, you know, learn to just be here and now or so, then
biologically, the brain uses more energy than, I mean, it's an
Yeah.
amazingly
yeah.
calorically dense, source of, yeah.
May I just
Please,
some
please,
that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that. Timo, I was thinking, every time you get the feeling of depression or the feeling of exhaustion, or have that feeling, if you watch this part of the recording and do this inquiry to that feeling, and then look into how do you know what depression actually is. You have a label saying what depression is, or a label saying what exhaustion is. How do you know how that feels in the body? If you detach the label of it, how would you describe it? Because you will find that just like you saw with Janine, that it's coming in waves, and every single wave is different. We can only maintain an experience of what depression or exhaustion is, or migraine for that matter, if we keep the label on it and saying this is, and this is how I know in your lived experience how it is in the body right now when you are depressed or when you are exhausted. If you really feel into what is happening in the body, you will see that it's something completely different. And there's a humbleness to that does not align with being a very conceptual person. I am too a very conceptual person. I am too very much liking things in small, neat boxes and have seen them from every single angle. I really enjoy that. So I completely understand you. I'm completely on board with you, and I'm very much exactly like you. What I have found helpful is to question what I know, because like Todd just said, we do not know. We have no idea. We think we know, and we are very comfortable thinking that we know. But when you really, really look into it, you only know the label. You don't know what is actually the lived experience of it.
Yeah, I hear you. Like just in the past week, I as I said, like I felt some, release from the heaviness and so on. Just sort of recognizing that, like, if I feel a certain way, like in the morning, for example, I might feel tired or heavy or old, like I'm just, the years are piling up and I'm almost 40 and ancient. So, like there is this certain kind of a state that I have learned to associate with thinking a certain way. I can really like start to see that, like experientially.
Yeah, exactly.
Experientially, yes.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Like I feel like I can see through that much better than before. So it doesn't sort of lull me to sleep and like totally believing.
Yeah, I love that
story.
Yeah.
Isn't it fascinating too when you start to like take off that label of depression, heaviness, oldness, or something like that? Sorry, letting somebody in. That when you take that off, that the feeling that was underlying it, that you were taking to be depression or oldness or tiredness, is actually much lighter than it seemed to be. It's like it really changes the experience of it, because we are, as soon as we label something, we put on it all of the associated judgments, thoughts, and past memories about what that thing is, and then it just takes on all of that extra meaning and all of that extra emphasis and heaviness that the actual experience doesn't have.
Yeah. You build on it with thoughts, and then you have more thoughts that build on the thoughts, and it becomes really, really heavy.
Yeah, it's like if you have a headache and you really, really don't want a headache, then it actually helps thinking this is a brain tumor, and then and then you feel, oh my God, it's so bad, I can hardly be anywhere. Okay, it's not a brain tumor. Oh, it's actually not that bad, because it's like the mind is adding on to, I'm old, oh my God, I can't move. Okay, it's not about you being old. Oh, now I'm actually a spring bunny, I can actually do lots of things. The mind is amazing at that. It's really, really amazing at limiting us because we believe in the label.
We've been talking about doing, because we've been going to the gym lately, and we've been talking about doing a series of things about that, because it is so, like, I was somebody who's never been to a gym, and realizing the limiting beliefs that were in there around certain exercises, or I won't go into it, it's a long thing, but
I can do it very short.
You can do it very
I can do it very short.
Okay,
Okay, is it okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's always
okay. So there's this exercise that I wanted Todd to experience how much the thought was limiting his experience. So there's this machine where you do like that, and it reminds him of those like men that are going like that, and he hates that type of men, right?
Seriously.
So he had a certain type of weight on it, and he was sitting and doing completely fine. And then I said, now you're one of those guys. And immediately he couldn't move his hands. So he had to relax because he was so exhausted. And I was like, okay, try again. And he sat up and tried again. And then I said, imagine now that you're a bird and you're flying. And he could do so many. It was like, this is amazing. Oh my God, this is my wings. And then I said, now you're one of those guys. And he was like, and he couldn't move his arms at all. That's the power of the mind. It's the power of the mind. It's really, really becoming aware of how much the mind is dictating what the body is actually capable of.
Yeah. I don't want to live under its tyranny anymore.
No. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing how it's going for you. If you could come back next inquiry, I would like to hear how you're doing with the with detaching the thought and seeing into how much the thought is actually limiting the body, and if you allow the body to be, how much that is actually dissolving the thought.
Yeah. So basically continue as I've done, just drawing the attention to
Yes.
the bodily sensations and
Yeah, and listen back to this part of the. You can either make a timestamp on it so you can hear it over and over, or record it so you have it. Yeah. And I would love for you to inquire more about what the sensation in your head is if Timo is there, or what the sensation in the heart is, or if Timo is there. So you keep inquiring into that.
Yeah, I'm always a big proponent of throughout the day, at any point, it doesn't have to be formal inquiry. At any point as you're walking around, if you suddenly start to feel like Timo, you start to feel like, okay, well, this is definitely me. There's definitely a self here. Just stop, look inside and go, where is it? What is happening right now that is making me assume that there's a self here right now? And then just get really curious about all of the different aspects of your sensory experience at that moment, and see if there is in fact anything there that's giving you that impression.
Yeah, I like what Ellen Watts said with that. The sense of self is just a contraction in the body.
Yeah, it's a persistent muscular contraction or something to that effect.
Yeah. Squinting the eyes, tensing the face.
Yeah.
And even things like we could have tension in like the butt or in the back or something that are just there holding up the structure, and we take that to be, well, I'm here, I am a body, I am this feeling of being a me is actually just muscular tension that's holding up a skeleton. But we take that as a personalized thing, and we take that to be a hallmark of ourself. And so it's recognizing even in that, even in what feels like a physical sensation, is that physical sensation me, or is it just physical muscular tension? Is there, a lot of times we have these they're just above the level of subconscious mental images. They're not super, super sharp and in focus, like we're intentionally imagining something, but they're these kind of mental overlays about our body and space, about what we look like, about our face or the emotional state or something else. And they go a long way also into combining with some of these other elements to create that feeling of being an existing self in space and time. So we get curious and we analyze and dissect all of it.
Yeah. Really nice. Thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, really good. Thank
so
you.
happy to meet you.
Really good meeting you.
Yeah, likewise. I'm happy
Thank
again.
you. Thank you so much.
See you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Then we have Candida, and thank you very much, Leela, for the reminder that 2 hours has passed. You got consultations in a second.
I do.
So we have.
This will be the last one for today.
Yeah, last one here. Is it? How do you pronounce your name? Candida or Candida?
Candida.
Candida.
Yeah, hi.
So nice to meet you. First time
nice
here.
to meet you. Yes, thank you for the opportunity to ask my question. Thank you. This for me is like a greyhound. I'm asking this, so I've been in this, like conversation for decades now. I mean, I come from the therapy direction, and from the body therapy. So like decades ago, I learned like similar exercises, like you do it, with the only very important difference that you then go with a thought, you attach, right, and try to do something with it. But the thing is, and I've been in a spiritual group that looks at no self, like for more than a year now or longer. And this is sort of an on and off. I mean, it's sort of like, see, there's no self, and then I don't, right? So it's, but the question, so I found this work with Timo very, very useful and really great, right? So I'm gonna repeat it too all the time. I've made a note. But my question is, I have a really recurring theme of anxiety when I work. So I was a therapist, and I had panic attacks before each session. extreme panic attacks. I had to drive to a place. I had to really count and concentrate on counting to not lose like conscience and drive into another car. It was that extreme. And so I did this for years and nothing happened. I mean, this experience that no one killed me and nothing happened, right? Didn't seem to help, right?
Yeah.
It was just all the time. And I also could be with the feeling in the body, but this didn't seem, so I mean, I see the expectation that this should go away, right? But this expectation is just there. So after some years, I stopped because I thought I can't do this anymore. Like the stress on the system is just so extreme that there came a point where I said, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I stopped. And then I got like, maybe I stopped with everything because I have to say that I'm lucky and I don't need to work, right? So I just did this because I thought, I don't even know why. Anyway, after some weeks, I got the offer to teach in a therapist school. So not to be a therapist, but to teach. And I already used to teach a little bit on the side, and this didn't give me any anxiety, right? And so I thought, oh, I'm going to do this. This is a good idea. So I took on more subjects, you know, more topics and more classes. And now I'm in the same same anxiety loop I didn't have before. It's sort of ironic. But before I was doing therapy sessions with anxiety and teaching a little bit, no anxiety. And now I'm just teaching and it's like total anxiety again. And I was also always think about stopping to teach also, but it's not being done. And I also did this body yes, body no exercises, and it's always like a sort of yes to teaching. My initial answer when I was offered this was, oh yeah, that's a fun thing to do. But now it's just got so overlaid from, I mean, I have 5 children, and the teachings are not every weekend, but at the weekend, you know, at the therapist school. And so the whole week before a teaching weekend, I'm just not functioning anymore. You know, I can't even properly do the grocery shopping because I can't concentrate on making a list. I'm just completely somewhere.
It's amazing.
I use all my energy to stay in the body somehow. But yeah, I mean, I just want this to be gone.
Yeah, and I know, and it's not. It's so great. It's so great. Okay. First thing I want to say is just to clarify what the difference between fear and anxiety is. And I have said it multiple times, so if you heard it before, any one of you here, just bear with me. A fear is when we know what we're afraid of. You wake up at night, you hear an axe murderer walking around outside of your house, and you're afraid. That is fear. And anxiety is when we wake up at night and we don't know why. We can just feel that there's something that is not like it's supposed to be. And that is an anxiety. So it's like, it's the undefined that is the anxiety. Normally, when we suffer from an anxiety, first of all, I hate the word suffer from because it's a gift. But normally when we have issues about an anxiety, it's something that has happened to us pre-verbally. Are you here, Candida? Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. I had some issue with my AirPods. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I had to take them off because they were out of power.
Yeah, okay. It's usually something pre-verbal. It's something that has happened. As a body therapist, you know that you know, ever since conception, we have had different muscle groups that are developing in different stages, and a lot of awareness is in the muscle groups in different areas and different time periods and so on. And we can talk about that for years. So when we have an anxiety, it's normally lodged in the body pre-verbally. So we don't know why we have it. In my experience, a lot of the anxiety that we have, that is like you described, that you do something and then you have lots of anxiety, then you stop doing it, and then you do something else, and then it comes again, and then you stop doing that, and then what happens is that the world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's the whole purpose of it. So imagine that you are a baby and it's pre-verbal, and you are lying on the bed and you have no idea of where you are in space, and that space is outside of you. There's just being. And suddenly you roll off the bed and you hit yourself terribly. You have no idea, no concept of a body, of a you, of a bed, of a floor, of pain, that you have no concept of time, which means that whatever pain you feel, it's now and forever. That can lodge an anxiety in the body that when we are adults, we cannot explain. We just have this feeling of unsafety, and we cannot explain what it is because we can't remember what it is. It's just lodged in the body. So when we live our life in a way, and that surfaces, that fear for our life, for our well-being, for whatever undefined thing is surfacing, it's because right now we have this space to deal with it. That's why it's coming up now and not when we're 5. Because we didn't have the emotional and psychological and intellectual maturity when we were 5, but we do when we're in a place in life where we're quite safe. Then there's space for us to actually deal with it. The problem is that we don't want it. What we talked about all along, we have a feeling in the body that we don't want, and then because we believe that I cannot deal with this. I'm too vulnerable. I cannot look at this. I cannot deal with this. Then we divert with something. In your case, you divert with simply stopping what you're doing and doing something else. But the problem is that the feeling wants to be felt. The feeling wants to be felt. So it will surface. No matter what you do, if you stop teaching, it will just resurface in doing groceries. Then you're going to stop doing groceries and start to order for deliveries. Then it's going to resurface every time somebody's coming to the house. Then it's going to then you're going to stop having people to the house, and then it's going to resurface whenever, it's Christmas. So it's going to keep resurfacing until you feel it. And the way, go on.
I just wanted, so this is logically does mean that though I think I have felt it like thousands of times, I obviously didn't, right?
You haven't. Nope. You have allowed yourself to feel the socialized part of you that has an anxiety. The clean one. Were you here when Janine was experiencing?
Yes.
That is exactly the part that you have not allowed. You have allowed the one that you can intellectualize, that you can talk about in a group, that you can formulate, that you can be very clever about, having insights that are interesting. But
I've been in trauma bodily therapy for years, where I was like stopping and having SE, somatic experiencing and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I've worked with this like all the time, and in the moment there is a reaction, but I feel this too, but I don't know what is meant with I haven't felt it, because I have worked through it in a bodily way.
I know, but every time you work through it, you have had the identity of a self.
Oh, right.
And when we have the identity of a self, some things are allowed to happen, other things are not allowed to happen.
Yeah.
Because I am not one of those people that are sitting and screaming in a room. I'm not doing that. I'm not going there. So when we have something tied up to an identity, we are limiting ourselves. The experience is limited by the thought and by the label. So the label of Candida, the body therapist that knows, just like Timo just talked about, oh my God, Timo, he knows. Timo knows, there's a little concept and a little box. So, and that's the problem. In that little box, nobody fits. Nobody fits. And the experience are not allowed to be experienced the way that it needs to be experienced. It's only allowed within the little box.
Mm.
And that's why we can go in therapy from now and until we die. As long as there is an attachment to an I, to a self, to a someone, then it's only taken us so far.
Okay, I mean, I see the attachment is very big to this shouldn't happen, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it shouldn't happen still, right?
Exactly. Still, I have done this for decades. How can there still be something? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the one that we just did with Timo, the one with that we did with Janine, go back to those and do it with them. Allow yourself to detach. I would recommend you to do Timo's first. Allow yourself to look into where is Candida, where's that located, where is the I, and is there any, for example, I had a body therapist that had a very, very clear sensation of a contraction that felt like a little star in the back of the heart. And she felt into it and felt into it and felt into it. And then I asked, where else in the body do you feel that contraction? Exactly that contraction, not the little star, but the contraction. And she was like, oh my goodness, I have it here in the top of my shoulders as well. Does that mean that the self is in the shoulders? And then she was like, oh my God. Because then she realized that what she took for herself, it was just a muscular contraction that you can find multiple places in the body. And with that, it releases. Then there's no one that needs to be in a certain way. You don't need to fit into a box. Whatever is allowed to be.
I did this exercise with Timo, and I mean, I did it, and it was for me in the chest, and my anxiety is also in the chest. It was the same place, and I was laughing like, oh no, this can't be it. But I think,
but do you see how funny that is? That
it is totally funny.
That the self and the anxiety is located at the same spot. How is that even
absolutely
possible?
When I say I, it's like being is beaming, right here in the chest, where also my anxiety is like I can't breathe. It's the same place, but not the same feeling, right?
But it's actually, how do you have a sense of how the two experiences are different without the labels being put on them? Like, what is the physical sensation of self in the chest versus the physical sensation of anxiety in the chest?
Maybe no difference. No, I can't say because it's the same, like, area being in the spot. You know what I mean? It's like a spotlight on this area, and it's like a lot more sensations being felt. But when I have this anxiety, I feel it there. I know this because I've explored it like all the time. And when you asked this question with Timo, it was immediately this same area that like spotlighted like this. And I knew this can't be it. But the component with anxiety, what I see what is coming is not that, it's that I can't do this, right? I'm gonna die if this feeling, if this sensation goes on and on, I'm not gonna survive it.
Yeah. So
this is the feeling that's unbearable. Like when he talked about his throat being not unbearable, I had like, yes, but this is unbearable.
Yeah, and I can relate because I also had anxiety issues for many years. I was agoraphobic. I had panic attacks. I've been through the gamut as well, and so I understand what you're going through. What I think is really interesting to note, though, is that the sense of self, when it's felt in the chest, there's a sense that is me in some way if we don't analyze it. And there's basically you have this, whatever the experience is of sensation happening in a chest, you have a thought over that is usually not really being consciously acknowledged as being that's me, but there's something there that believes that that's me. There's a belief there. Otherwise, just that sensation, when I asked what feels like a me, that sensation would not have even come up on your radar as being a potential for me if there wasn't some sort of latent belief in there that that could be a me. And then you have that sensation that appears during anxiety, during panic attacks, and that sort of thing. And then you have these labels on it that go, oh, this is unbearable. This is anxiety. I've had this for so long. Why is it still here? I'm going to have to quit my job. I can't, and then these out of the, out of control cycles of thoughts that are about the same sensation. Without those two thoughts, you're basically dealing with the same physical bodily sensations. The irony is, let's come back into it.
It's okay. Yeah, it's just resonated something. I don't know.
Good. The irony is that the belief of it being a self can also be a protective thing where we feel fear at the idea of seeing through that. So even though there's a sensation there can be fear in two different ways. There's fear of seeing through it as being a self because it's not. And then there's also a fear of that sensation meaning something more about me as an anxious person and the way it's going to impact my life, which it's not. So you have a same sensation in both situations, and you have these mental overlays that are just wreaking havoc on, the suffering of the thing that we're calling Candida right now. This idea of the self is being put through all this unnecessary turmoil and suffering just because of thoughts that are attaching to physical sensations. So what was it? So I'm sorry.
No,
what was it that resonated, and what happened in that moment?
I don't know what it was exactly, because you talked along and so I forgot. But
I'm sorry. I do that. I do.
No, but actually, when you said this, like those overlays, and this is the whole suffering. I mean, I'm summarizing here, paraphrasing. I don't know. This was like a moment of, oh my God, and it was a sort of compassion for this system having so much suffering because of this, right? So it was a moment. Now I can talk myself out of it.
Well, go back and rewatch this and see if somewhere along there, and then just pause it so you don't hear me babbling on afterwards. Just get to the point that like hit something and then just hit pause and feel what was there.
It was the whole thing, it started there, but the whole thing was just.
Yeah, I was also thinking of that. There's also that super important part. Yeah, I'm also thinking that there's also that super important part that I believe that whenever we have depression and anxiety, all those things that we experience, pain in the body, whatever agoraphobia, whatever it is, I really believe that there's a super, super important message to us in it. And when we just want it to go away, we're minimizing the importance. We're making it less important than it actually is. So you're rushing through it. And when you're rushing to get rid of it, you're missing the point. It's going way, 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 way too quick. You need to slow down, slow down, slow down. What is this actually telling you? What is this protecting? What is this making sure that you are aware of is an issue that needs love, compassion, and kindness. And by that disappearing, that part of you will never, ever receive love, compassion, and kindness. So it's important for it to stay there as long as you're not directing love, compassion, and kindness in that direction. You only have that opportunity, and you will only do it when you're forced to it. And you're only forced to it when you have an anxiety. So if an anxiety disappears, that area of you is not being met. So that needs to be met. And when it's met, and it has been completely incorporated in you and being met all the time with love, compassion, and kindness, then you can unhook the anxiety, but not sooner, not before.
And you mean by this information, or wants to tell you something, you don't mean something in the thought, like a story or something like this. You mean
Not a
something else,
Not-
right?
yeah, I do. Not a story and not a concept. Not a story and not a concept. Because we really, really want to create a story. Oh, when I was 7 and my mom, she didn't.
Yeah,
And
because
then we
I work with this like a lot.
Yeah, not that. Because that is just a diversion from what is actually happening. The story is the story is detaching, and no, the story is diverting from what the feeling is calling out for. There's a sensation in the body that is calling out for you to be aware of it and allowing it to be in a body. Can I be in a body that ... And then you just sit with that and allow it to be there and give it love, compassion, and kindness, and fill it up, fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. And when it's done, it's unhooking all by itself without you doing anything, without you knowing a story about it when I was a baby or when I was 7 or any story, because the stories are not important. It's just diversion, and usually used for us diverting again from the sensation that we have in the body. So just getting back to the feeling and allowing it to be there and filling it up with love, compassion, and kindness. If it wasn't there, so I usually ask Todd every time he's sick or feel miserable or something, I get all excited and go like, what's the gift in this? What's the gift in this?
I love that question.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to ask myself this when this comes in 2 weeks is my next weekend.
Yeah, do that. What is the gift? What is the gift? And then stop and see where it takes you. Allow it to take you where it wants to take you.
I'm already getting symptoms when I even think that it's in 2 weeks. So it's so strong.
Yeah. But it's really great that it's there. Otherwise, there's an area of you that would just stay in darkness.
Yeah, I see it. I see that's a constant wanting this to just go away. Yeah. That's driving everything.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm doing the things, but through this lens of make it go away, make it go away.
Yeah, exactly. Where instead it should be, oh, thank God you are here. Welcome. Turn the light, go into the room, turn the light on, look at every single, corner and see what's there for you.
I'm going to write myself a post-it, a big one. Thank God it's here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm going to forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do feel, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to say anything.
I was going to say, I feel like we've already thrown so much at you to begin with, but it's come up a few times and I just felt like I wanted to just put it out there just in case you have one more thing on your plate to consider. The one place where, because I agree with Pernille that, making narratives and histories out of these things that come up is not helpful and it just reinforces that sense of self and all of that. But the one thing that might be useful in terms of finding the toxic starting points and that sort of thing is to look into what is the commonality between when you were doing sessions with people and you were having panic attacks before those sessions. There was something that was triggering a panic attack that you were afraid of, something that you were worried about happening. Then when you were teaching, that wasn't there. Then when you were teaching the new time, that came back. So what was the commonality between those two times?
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Yep. I would just, I absolutely have no idea if that is the case, but when you are in one-to-one sessions, you never ever know what comes up. You're completely out of control. It's very free flowing. Like we often talk about when you go in, you have no idea what you're going to talk about. You have no idea what is going to be said or anything. But when you teach, you know what you're going to say. You have planned out almost every single 5 minutes, a new slide, a new topic, and you're going like that. When you have teach for a while and you have a group, then you start to know people, and then the uncertainty comes up again, that they bring stuff to the table that you do not know what, and then you're back to the smack of it.
Exactly.
What I would like to remind you of is there is no candidate, and whoever is there as a teacher is not the wise one. We talk about that a lot. We want to create a group next year. And we talk a lot about that. It's a reminding group. It's a reminders group, that we are reminding people of what they already know. I'm not the wise one. Far from. You are. You know, Todd is not the wise one. Far from. We're just reminding you guys what you already know. And if you can enter the room with that humbleness, that you're not bringing anything to the table, you're just there to be a mirror to the people in front of you, because it's not you who's doing it, it's them who's doing it. You know?
Yeah, totally. And that's exactly it. Because exactly this, because the topic I was teaching in the beginning was a very, very defined one. So they basically didn't say anything, you know. And this one I'm teaching therapy methods. So it's basically like a big therapy session.
Yeah.
And this is just freaking me out. And
yeah,
till the moment it begins, because I see the mind is just like trying to predict, trying to know. And the moment it begins, it's just gone, you know, and it's just happening, whatever.
Yeah. I can let you in on a secret. If you plan what you're going to talk about in a therapy session or in a teaching session, you are the worst teacher on the planet. You're the worst. If you go into the room and you just, the only thing you bring to the table is a mirror. That's all you bring to the table. You're bouncing back what you see, and it's the only thing you bring to the table. Then you're doing your actual job.
Yeah, totally.
But then also, I'm just curious.
That was a relief.
That was a big relief. Yeah. I feel like I should leave it there. I feel like we should leave it with the relief.
It's okay. You said you're curious, so I want to know. You see, the mind wants.
Well, going back to
this is what Todd he does in 101s. When you guys believe now we're at the end, this was it. He's going to say something else, and another hour is going.
No. It was just based on what we were just talking about. But on one hand, you have that amazing relief at recognizing that you can't plan, and you've been putting yourself through all of this extra stress for trying to grasp the ungraspable or
understand the
ununderstandable,
understand the ununderstandable,
or to create a sense of security based on predictability. You're trying to create this idea that, okay, I know what's going to happen, so I'm going to feel safe in this situation. So what I'm curious about is what's underneath that, and is there a belief that's driving the idea that you are not capable of handling any situation? Is there an inherent belief in your inability to deal with whatever comes up in any sort of therapy situation or teaching situation? And is that based off of an inherent insecurity that's really at the nugget of that?
That has a starting point in shame, and
totally.
Exactly. I am not, I should be, and a lot of shame, and
it feels like I might lose it and have a nervous breakdown when I'm faced with something I can't handle. And if I lose it and have a nervous breakdown, it's like the worst thing that can happen. It's like dying in front of the people. So at home I can have it. In front of my husband it's okay. So it's no problem. But it feels like this. I can see it. This attempt to hold myself together no matter what. So
I would also
again there's a very big belief in an I. There's a very big belief in someone actually being there and somebody actually doing something, and you're not. It's so arrogant when we believe that I am the one doing it. It's so arrogant. You're not. You're really, really not. You're moving as a good therapist. You're moving with what is alive. And it's what you're saying, that it's only up until the moment you're there. When you're there, you're just moving with whatever is alive. That's a good therapist. So believing that you can control and know what will be alive in the moment, it's arrogance. You can't. You cannot possibly know what will come up.
Yeah, I know and I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
So-
I know it and I don't know it. It's such a strange, because I see the total truth of it, but then
Yeah.
when
So-
you say it now, I see it. But let 30 seconds go into the way and then it comes back, you know. So
Oh,
You-
good.
no, you-
Sorry, sorry.
you-
No, I was just gonna say, so try going into that, bring up sentences about that. I'm afraid I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown in front of them. I don't feel equipped in any situation. Whatever sentence you can come up with that would trigger that internal feeling of insecurity or not being, prepared enough. See if then you can sit with that sensation. So it's not just sitting with the anxiety situation and then pulling off the label and sitting with the sensations of it. We're going to the feeling of insecurity, that feeling of not being good enough or not prepared enough, or worrying that, I might just lose it in front of 30 people, whatever it is. I want you to try sitting with that sensation and bringing love and compassion to that sensation, because that's really the nugget in the middle of the whole ball of self in there.
yeah, so it's a total feeling on unworthiness.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
only if I do it right, I
Yeah.
earn some worth somehow.
Yeah. It's
Like
it's such a massive delusion. It's such a that you can ever do or say, anything that would have any significance for anyone. You can only be. It's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
It's just being.
So come back to that feeling of unworthiness and just bring love and compassion to that feeling and be with it.
yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to hearing how it's going.
Yeah.
Thank you
I'm
so
gonna
much.
report.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You.
Thank you so much.
All right, Janine.
I just want to check up with Janine how we're doing before we stop. Hello, my friend. Oh, you're muted.
Leo.
There we go. Hello.
Hi.
How are
How
you?
you feeling?
Clear.
Good.
Good.
Good. That
Thank
was
you.
all I wanted to hear. That was
Good.
all I wanted
Just
to hear.
wanted to check
Thank
in
you
with
so
you.
much. Thank you so much. So happy you were here.
I hope to
Yeah.
talk to you soon.
Yeah. Let's see the little pin. I think that was it,
Okay.
friends. This
So
was lovely.
It was really lovely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was
Thanks, everyone.
wonderful. I'm back with Q&A next week on Friday. And the next inquiry group is 2 weeks from
2
now.
weeks from now, whatever that date is.
Whatever that date is.
I
I
do
have
not
no
know what that
idea.
date is. No.
No.
A question relating
Yes.
to
Yes.
the next inquiry group. Do I still need to send the email, or is it the same information that I can use to join?
Yes.
Same link
Same
every
link
time.
every time.
Yeah.
It's every
Cool.
same.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, and also for the PayPal, if anybody
Yeah.
wants to donate, then it's just
Same
same PayPal, same everything always.
Trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, we're not that savvy that we can make it complicated. so it's not complicated at all. Same link always.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Have a great
Thank you
couple
so
weeks.
much. It was so enjoyable.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. I always stop there.
Stop recording first. Dude. Stop recording to the cloud.